Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Season 3 off-season show for the Ocho Trivia Challenge. I am here with my co-commissioner and trusted teammate, Kyle Qualls, to recap Season 2 and look ahead to Season 3. Kyle, thank you for being here with me.
The pleasure is all mine, Matthew. To the dozens of players in the league and the millions of fans around the world, we want to thank you for joining us.
Excellent. All right, let's hop right into it. Let's look ahead to Season 3. There are going to be some new changes, some new faces, some new rules. Let's dive into them now. Firstly, in terms of hosts, Neil Dave is out. He has to focus on unimportant things such as medical school for hosting, so he will no longer have the time this season. We thank him for his service in the past.
It's such a shame to see a good host fall to the wayside.
Yeah, he got caught in the trap of caring about other things.
Yep.
Unfortunately so. But replacing him, we have Matthew Peterson and Fletcher Henson, both in picture form, looking good for us here. They'll alternate weeks hosting, so one game a week, you'll have either Petey or Fletcher, not both at the same time, so they'll be eased in. Any thoughts, Kyle?
Just a couple of handsome boys.
All right. In addition, we have some rule changes because of your voting. Thank you, everyone, for participating in our off-season poll. There will be a third lifeline. We did reach the voting threshold on that to be approved. It will be the double dip, and there it is. So you, one time per game, will be able to have two guesses on a question. Can't be used on an ordering question, so if you have to put ABC from most to least, can't use the double dip there. It would make it too easy. Kyle, how do you see this changing the game for some teams?
I feel like teams are really good at narrowing down questions to two answers, and then it's just a matter of guessing the right one and then hoping they're right so that the other team can't steal. And I feel like this is going to really cut down on those steal opportunities.
Did you vote for the double dip?
I can't remember. I don't know.
I didn't, full disclosure, but I'm very excited to see what happens with it. It could help a lot of teams if used properly.
Yes, no doubt.
Turning the page. We do have some teams to retire, whether they be breaking up, whether they be leaving the league, or just simply rebranding. We begin with Dogs Gotta Eat. Dogs Gotta Eat had a very strong inaugural season in Season 2. They made the playoffs. They had an amazing tiebreaker game versus the Chicken Hawks to get in, and they pushed Rolldale all the way to the finish line in a crazy overtime finish. Next, Neil Madrid. What is there even to say about Neil Madrid? Obviously, coming off Neil Team 6's success in Season 1, Neil Madrid couldn't replicate it. Had a very ugly breakup between their teammates, and we'll be seeing their new team rebrand in just a minute. Frank, Ethan, Neil, all going different ways. Neil and Ethan joining up with Mustafa. And lastly, the They-Thems, one of the league powerhouses. They won't be going anywhere, but they are retiring their name to go in a more politically correct direction. In a moment, we'll see how politically correct it will be. But in the meantime, we thank all these three brands for their service, and we say good night to them. Kyle, any final words for these brave soldiers?
Bring the troops home.
Indeed. All right. Good night, teams. All right, now we're going to look ahead to the three new branding teams we'll have in the league for Season 3. So starting off, we have one of the league powerhouses. The 3 seed in back-to-back seasons, a very strong team looking to win the title, the self-proclaimed villains of the league, with Preston, with Footer, and with Primos. We have the Chop House. Welcome to the league. Kyle, your thoughts?
When I heard that the They-Thems were rebranding, I thought, wow, really, really good to hear. I'm glad that they're moving in the more inclusive, progressive direction we want this league to move in. And then they go and change it to something even more offensive. But I do gotta say, it's just hilarious to look at. So for that, I am happy.
Yep, they have a homemade logo, and it's a beauty. So we're looking forward to seeing them this upcoming season. Next, another hotly anticipated debut. Fresh off their acrimonious breakup with Frank, Looking to turn the page after a horrific season 2, despite being really strong in season 1, this team thinks they can get back on the right page with a new rebrand, a new idea. It's Neil, it's Ethan, it's Mustafa. They're going to be the Hypnotoads. Kyle, how do you feel about the Hypnotoads going into season 3?
I couldn't feel better about this logo. As you know, I'm a huge Futurama fan, and praise Hypnotoad. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, yes. For those that don't know, this apparently is a Futurama thing. I didn't know that. I've never seen the show. All right, we move on to the last new team for season 3, and it's the one that many of us have been waiting for.
Yes.
Widely anticipated to be the most entertaining team of season 3. We don't know how good they'll be. We don't know who his 2 teammates are, but we know he'll be here every week to entertain us. It is Frankchester United. Kyle, what do you think?
I think this is obviously the biggest wild card in the league, seeing as there's only one known quantity with this team, and there's still so much yet to be decided. But I think Frank will hit them on the straight and narrow, and they'll just play classic Frankchester football.
Exactly. Nothing like Frank to put someone on the straight and narrow. Shout out to this song, by the way. This is by Frank's cousin. This is called Finna Cop, in parentheses, Finesse, by Young Syrup, a.k.a. Lil Pencil. All right, so those will be the new teams joining us this season. Now, we can officially announce the rivalry matchups for the first week of this upcoming season, which will be the week of January 17th. First up, we have the Hypnotoads and Frankchester United. No surprises there, but I cannot wait to see what will happen. A lot of bad blood. Frank maybe making racial comments. The Hypnotoads likely trying to beat him just by beating him on the field. But maybe they'll stoop to his level. Neil has been known to stoop, so who knows? Next, Rolldale versus the Chicken Hawks. This is the Michigan State of this league. It's a very big brother, little brother rivalry. Rolldale, obviously, they see the Chicken Hawks as a rival, but they have other teams that they think they kind of are on more even footing with. The Chicken Hawks trying to punch up and finally get one over on Alex. Sandusky's versus the Chop House. This is maybe the most historic rivalry in the league. I think this is, in terms of all-time record, the closest. I want to say it's like 3-2 or 3-3. So that'll be another good one. The 2 strongest teams in their division last season. Second to last, we have the Muffin Men versus Don't Blow It. It's your classic Chicago showdown between 2 teams that go way back. And lastly, kind of interesting game, Kyle, we have our team against Team Priapism, who might be a dark horse this year. We'll save that for the bold predictions. What do you think about all these games and our game in particular?
Obviously, Hypnotoads versus Frankchester United. That's got to be like the most anticipated matchup in regular season history. I do think Sandusky's versus the Chop House is going to have by far the most playoff implications, as they were very close atop of the same division. I harbor no ill will towards Team Priapism, but I am hoping to beat them because they are a bit of a sleeper pick.
Definitely, well said. I mean, all games look very strong on paper. Like you said, a lot more bad blood in some than others, but some are just good old-fashioned trivia showdowns, and we're looking forward to all of them in just a couple weeks. All right, Kyle. Time to get into some fun topics. We are going to do a league fantasy draft right now. Here are the rules. We're going to do a snake draft. You can pick 1 player per team. So this is obviously for no real implications. Maybe once we eventually put in some individual statistics, we can have some league fantasy stuff. But for now, we're just going to draft teams of 5. So there'll be 1 player from every team selected. You get the first pick. You're on the clock. Who are you taking? You get your choice of any player in the whole league.
I will be taking the defending league MVP, and that is, of course, Fletcher. Just overall great sports knowledge, would average way more points if it's like I saw a video of LeBron James making 3 no-look passes in a row, and his teammates all missed the shots, and that's kind of what Fletcher is on Sandusky's daycare. So, yeah.
Well said. All right, very strong pick to start you off. For my own selection, I'm going to keep it in the family. I'm going to go with Alex Sharon, the season 1 MVP, so both MVPs off the board now. I think why Alex is such a good player is because, first of all, he's just as good as anyone else on the non-niche stuff. But then He probably has the best individual niche of any player in the entire league with his Star Wars knowledge, which borders on the concerning for his level of depth there. So he can help me in both those facets. So that's why I'm going to start him off captaining my team. My next selection, because it is a snake draft, is going to be another really strong player. It's going to be Jake Footer, one of the best baseball players in the league, but also really good on a lot of non-sports stuff. The major sports and, history, those sorts of things. Not the biggest pop culture guy, but he can help there too, especially with music. Not a movie guy, but like we'll cover those areas. Really good player. So Kyle, now it's your pick again.
Right. So I'm going to go with Vigran. He came into the league after I think it was 2 weeks of last season and just tore it up and made the All-Star team. Slowed down a little bit, but probably no one with better college sports knowledge and just an all-around great player.
Absolutely. All right. You get one more pick.
So I feel like I've kind of covered my bases with sports for the first two picks. So I'm going to go with someone who's really niche for the next one, and that is Cam. His Nerf gun knowledge is, I would argue, even more concerning than Alex's Star Wars knowledge, because there are adults who like Star Wars. But yeah, Nerf is just an unbeatable niche, and I'm sure there's some other stuff that he just hasn't brought to the table yet.
Well said. Well said. All right. Coming back to my team, I'm going to go with the one and only Neil Dave on the next pick. I think it's a bit risky here because obviously, as we saw last season, team chemistry can be an issue with Neil. But I think if you put him on a winning team with people who actually care, that's where he kind of drew the line with Frank last year. So I think when he's surrounded by good teammates, he can kind of do a really good job for you. He's not going to need to be the star of this team with Alex and Footer already on board, but I think he has, kind of like the broadest knowledge of a lot of players because, I think he can kind of contribute any given category, which is something very helpful. That being said, with my next pick, we're going to keep it on our team for the Lick My Qual selection. I'm taking Noah. We love Noah. We love that he can remember answers in great detail after the answer has already been said by the host. But even before that, sometimes he can come up with big stuff. Great golf guy, very random pull guy. I think every team needs a wild card, and he is one of the wild cards in the entire league.
No doubt.
Now we're going to flip it back to you for your last two picks.
Right. So I'm going to take someone who was the best player on a team that did make the playoffs, and that is Calvin of the Muffin Men. Known for his Calvin game, made the All-Star team. Just another solid pick. Mm-hmm. And then after him, with my last pick, because we have to pick someone from every single team, meaning that Frank Chester United does have to come off the board, I am going to go with to be determined. I frankly, pun intended, just don't trust Frank. He has probably, again, we don't keep individual stats, but Frank has to have the lowest WAR of anyone in the league. So I feel like if one of his teammates is just an average player, that'd be pretty good. So,
all right. So your team's looking very strong and obviously with a lot of potential to get better because maybe TBD will end up being a superstar. With my last pick, I'm very happy to get this guy. Don't Blow It obviously is the team it needs to come from. They have three solid players. I took a lot of time deciding this one, but I am going to go with Tyler. He's the team captain. He keeps them organized, very invested in the league. I think, having a glue guy like that who's always going to be really like pushing our team to come up with the best niches, those sorts of things can be really valuable. And you can come up with good answers too. So those are our two teams. Maybe one day we'll have them do like a fantasy game for fun. So everyone who's watching, either in the comments or in our group text, let us know whose team you think would win. Let's just assume the TBD is an average player. Let us know who you think came away with the stronger team. Another reason we did this is because we're looking in the summer during our long season break to potentially have a real fantasy draft for a really short tournament style game. You can play with new teammates, those sorts of things. So this was a little taste of that. Kyle, I enjoyed drafting my team. How do you feel about it?
I feel really good. I feel like TBD has a lot of potential. Highly recruited out of high school, kind of fell off during college, some injury stuff, but the potential's there.
Yes. As our 8th grade physics teacher used to say, potential energy means you haven't done anything yet. And that fits TBD very well.
And I live by those words.
Indeed. We'll move on now to the top 5 moments of season 2. This is actually top 6 because we have an even number of people. We're going to count it down. We're each going to have 3 unique moments here. I'm going to go first here with my number 3 moment. That would be Will's golf course mishap. Obviously, maybe the most like important, influential moment of the season in terms of determining a champion, because that could have been a 2 point swing right there, and it was a very close game. Obviously, shouting out a final answer before the question was even finished to make us have less time when PD knew the answer for their team. So, I mean, an incredible moment. I think the picture we have of PD and Fletcher's reactions to Will doing that is probably my favorite picture in my camera roll. Kyle, you're up next. Your next best moment.
Is, of course, Muffin Men clinching the playoffs. They started out 2-0 and then lost a whopping seven straight, doing a reverse Miami Dolphins. They were statistically, I think, bottom two in the league, and then they just rattled off four straight wins against really good teams, and then surprised everyone by making the playoffs. We had been telling teams like Priapism and Chicken Hawks that they were almost certainly going to get in, and then Muffin Men just came and ruined all of that and made us look like fools. So thank you, Muffin Men.
Absolutely, our real Cinderella story of the year. For my next moment, I am going to go with Dogs Gotta Eat Overtimes. Technically a plural here. On the top 25 colleges list, they took Sandusky's to 24 of the 25 in a row before finally losing. And then they took my brother's team, Roll Dale, to overtime in the first round and got 4 out of 5 and still lost on the top 25 busiest airports in the country. So basically, they got about, I think, 15 out of 17 questions right and went 0-2, which is unbelievable. So, Qualls, your number 2 moment
is the checkers speech. Probably the most famous question ever asked in the history of the league.
Great.
Yeah, just not nearly as famous as I don't even remember the other part of the question because all anyone remembers is the checkers speech.
Fireside chats.
Fireside chats, exactly. Nowhere near as famous as that. So yes, checker speech.
Yep. Nothing needs to be said more about that one. My number 1 moment and your number 1 moment, it's hard to say anything else. Deep Sea Creatures Part 2. Frank giving away a deep sea creature question for the second time. They would have won both of those games and possibly made the playoffs, but of course, it was not meant to be. An all-time Neil meltdown, an all-time Frank moment. He was defiant. He blamed his own teammates for himself giving away an answer. It's nothing's going to get better than that, is it?
Yeah, not since 1860 has there been a schism quite like this. And yeah, just I mean, it was so funny in the moment. You can go back and like if you know when this league blows up and we're selling like best of Ocho trivia DVDs, like this is going to be like the number one thing. So
absolutely, yeah. So we can only hope that season 3 will have a moment as entertaining as that one. We're going to move on now to our last topic here. We each made 3 bold predictions for this upcoming season. We're going to share them now just for fun. We'll see what happens. My first one. Team Priapism is going to make the playoffs, and they're going to win a playoff game. Last year, the stats show that they were a top 4 or 5 team in the whole league. They were just getting unlucky with wins and losses. Maybe they added Vigrant a little too late. I think this year they have them from the beginning. They're going to be really strong. I'm a big believer in them.
Yes, my bold prediction is Frank Chester United will beat the Hypnotoads in week 1 of Rivalry Week. I think that Neil is going to be playing with his heart and not his head. I think the second that there's any misstep from Ethan or Mustafa or even himself, he's just going to shut down emotionally. And I think Frank is going to be just kind of playing loose. He'll no doubt be high, spewing racist bile. And I think they're just going to play like fast and loose and relaxed. So, yeah.
Well said. Yeah, that would be something to watch for. My next prediction is that the Hypnotoads and the Chicken Hawks will have a play-in game for the 6th seed. They're going to tie on record. You're going to have another Chicken Hawks essential play-in game. This year it was the last week of the regular season. I think this time it's going to be a real play-in game like we had in season 1. I'm not sure the Chicken Hawks could take that much stress again, but I think it's where they're going to end up and should be really entertaining if it happens.
Yes, I have the Chop House misses the playoffs. It has been shown time and time again that the hosts have a bias against them, and we plan on changing nothing. Yes. But in all seriousness, I think the league has gotten better, and when it's just inevitable that one team is going to take a step backwards, and I feel like Chop House is kind of due. I feel like they've been the beneficiaries of some hot starts and then cold finishes, and if they aren't able to get off to a hot start, I think they're in real trouble.
Yeah, well, if that does happen, it'll be crazy to see what Primos's reaction is, to say the
Yes.
least.
Mhm.
My last bold prediction for this season, I think Rolldale is going to squeak into the playoffs before they actually start trying and reaching the final. We saw it this year when they're drunk or when they're checked out. Not that strong of a team, but all of a sudden they play a team like ourselves, the Chicken Hawks, that they care about beating, or they're in the playoffs for money, and all of a sudden they're arguably the best team in the league or the second best team. It's unbelievable. If they do that again, they have a real good chance to win the whole thing. As long as they get in, that's the important part.
Mhm. And my final prediction is that Mustafa Mufasa will win MVP. He just has a certain swagger about him and confidence. Maybe he's overselling himself, but I think not. I think they're gonna, like I said, lose in week one. But I think after that, Mustafa is just gonna have MVP form. So yeah.
Mm. That'll be something to look out for. And speaking of the devil, we now have a special interview with Mustafa Raza detailing his expectations for this season, his relationship with his own team, as well as Frankchester United, and many more topics. He's probably the most anticipated addition to the league in our history. We are really excited to hear from him. Let's tune in now. All right, Mustafa, thanks for being with us. For those at home, full disclosure, we already recorded an interview with Mustafa, had some technical difficulties, so we're back again. We really appreciate him coming back on, but he had a lot of fun things to say, so we had to have him back. It was the best part of this video. So, Mustafa, welcome again. Welcome to the league again. So, like we were saying before, we just wanted to get a sense of, how prepared you are coming in, what you've heard about the league, and your kind of general thoughts coming in. So, go ahead.
Well, yeah, well, first of all, I've been reviewing the game tape. I'm like John Gruden in the film room. I view a lot of tape and then I get a little racist. That's just how it goes. Um, so I started viewing the game tape. I watched the finals, I watched the playoffs, and then I stopped because the videos just convinced me that this league wasn't going to be too much competition, and I didn't want too much hubris. So I saw the easy path to victory, and that's all the film needed to show me.
Well said. Well said.
Mhm.
Kyle?
Yes, Mustafa Mufasa Raza. What specifically do you plan to bring to the league and to your team in terms of knowledge, sports knowledge, and any potential niche categories?
Well, first of all, I have a knowledge of wide areas of history that are not limited to Europe, unlike you weird Christians. And some niche sports knowledge. Big chess guy. My elo just hit 1550 recently. We're moving. Big chess guy, big cricket guy, uh, big Formula One guy. Uh, just trying to stretch everything, and big into religion. I got to brush up on my Old Testament, but I'm pretty good with my Matthew, John, Mark, and Luke.
Okay. Obviously, you know all about the drama between your new teammates and our dear friend Frank. Do you have a message for him or kind of sentiments on that whole debacle?
A lion does not concern himself with the opinions of a lamb. It's a lot of white noise. It's a lot of white noise. Frank likes to talk a big game, but his teammates left for a reason. He's pretty incapable. Uh, yeah, I'm just really not concerned about him. I'm looking towards a rivalry with a team that's more capable. Uh, I think he's really just in the league at this point for comic relief. We gotta give him a jester's hat and make him dance, and that's really the only reason he's here. Let's be quite honest.
Strong words. Kyle, you can go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay, I have two questions to end. During the first part of this, I had a bold prediction that you will be the league MVP, and finding out that you do research at Harvard has only strengthened my convictions. What are your reactions to my pick?
Well, I'm really the prince who was promised. Let's be honest. I'm the prince of Persia. We got this team. Our running name right now is the Glorious Hypno Toads. I wanted our team name to be Hezbollah, just because our victory is assured. We have a whole we have a whole lot of inshallah behind us, and I mean, you made the prediction right because it's the will of God himself.
Right. Okay. And then last and absolutely most important, do you prefer the original or the 2007 remaster of Invisible Touch by Genesis?
I kind of want to take this opportunity to pivot. Let's pivot. First of all, let's just rattle off a few things. First of all, the original is probably the best. My dad has the original on vinyl, but today I was thinking best twist in a sci-fi movie ever. Maybe the twist in the original Planet of the Apes. Electric, and undeniably top to bottom best Kanye West album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good on takes. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Mustafa, not only showing wild knowledge, but also showing great taste in art. I'm sure that will serve your team well. So thanks for hopping on again. Really appreciate it. And best of luck this season.
Of course. Take care and see you soon.
All right. Adios, everyone.
Yeah.